Right, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Here's an incredible morning. The sun's out. We had loads of rain yesterday, so I thought I'd come out and check the pumpkin patch. And I was away in Holland for 2 days, so it's changed a lot in 2 days. I mean, probably that's more to do with the rain than the length of time, but because pumpkins swell up so quickly when they get properly watered, and I've just had a quick look around and there is loads. And as far as I was aware before, there was only like 1 or 2, and then the one, I'll show you in a second, the one butternut squash that was the biggest has been like savaged by foxes, so I'll show you that. So that's a shame, but I've looked around and I've found like another 10 pumpkins. Not so many butternut squash, but the pumpkins have gone crazy. So let's have a quick look. And there is butterflies, bees, every type of insect, just everywhere. I think I've included in this video some little like clips of that, but it is so relaxing. I just keep sitting here in the middle of the pumpkin patch, just relaxing, just being present and looking at what's happening, and it's really cool. I'd recommend it if you've got the space. Yeah, so I'll show you guys what's going on in the pumpkin patch. Okay, so the pumpkin patch has grown a lot since you guys have seen it. So the greenhouse is there, this is the pumpkin area, goes all the way up there, down here, and down to here, and out to there. I'm so glad I planted these in this space, because at this time of the year, or like, this is the first year I've had this garden, so a lot of the space is not really being used for much. So if you have a big empty space and you're not sure what to do with it, stick pumpkins in. Yeah, so you can see just butterflies everywhere. And on this single vine, we've got one fertilized pumpkin. You can always tell when they get fertilized because they swell to this size in a few days, and if they aren't fertilized, you'll see they'll turn yellow and shrivel, and they usually just snap off. Okay, that one's not snapping. They usually just snap off. And then there's another pumpkin there, so that's the female flower. You can tell when it's a female because it has the baby pumpkin behind it. The male flower will not have the pumpkin behind it. Well, this one does. And it'll be a really tall stem. And it's reaching up so the bees see it, so that the bees get the pollen, and then the bees will hunt out the female flowers. So we've got one little pumpkin here. I'll just take that flower off. And I say little, it's actually not a bad size already. Then we've got this little baby one. Then on the same vine, oh, that's 2 vines actually. That's a separate vine there, and then this is a separate vine here. Then we've got this pumpkin here with this dead flower on. I always remove them just to let this bit dry out, because if it stays too wet, I don't know whether it does, but I feel like it's got a higher risk of rotting. Then an even bigger one here is just resting on top of the grass. This variety is the Goosebumps pumpkin, but none of them have any of the goosebumps growing yet, so I wonder if they come when it gets more mature. I mean, it does look like it's got some sort of spots, and I've just seen behind it as another pumpkin. And this is just one vine. Oh, and there's another one there. So this one I wouldn't confirm 100% has been pollinated, because sometimes they can look like they're starting to swell, and then they can just dry off and turn yellow and rot off, like this one here. And just moving over, we have a different variety of pumpkin. This is the Jill Be Little, and I was actually growing this up the trellis. You can see there's one there, but this vine decided it wanted to grow this way, so I'm just letting it do what it wants. And then this is butternut squash. This half is all butternut squash here. So then this is the butternut squash I was talking about a minute ago. That has, I think, been played with by a fox, which is such a shame because it's quite a well grown one. But that's okay. We will move on. There's another pumpkin just down there. That's a regular. Oh, I've just spotted another butternut squash. That's a goosebumps pumpkin. Oh, I've just spotted one. It's so exciting looking for them. There is a butternut squash, and it hasn't been found by the foxes. Cool. Have a look around. It is so exciting because you don't want to look too much so that you can surprise yourself like I just have. But it is really cool. There's my banana. That was the one that used to be next to my old pond in my old house. And luckily, because it died right down to here, because I didn't protect it in the winter. And then it's grown up really nicely and it's finally putting out some really thick, healthy growth. Okay, so coming to this side of the pumpkin patch, we have one little butternut squash down here. Oh, there's a second one. Don't know whether that's been fertilised or not, but we'll find out. Look how cute that is. Yeah, that's like soggy, but it's really nice. And the pumpkin's growing through there as well, the vine. And it is so cool. The sunflowers have kind of finished now. They've just started sending up like little second heads, but the second heads are never as impressive as the first. Always really pretty though. And then I've got some climbing beans that are up here. They haven't grown any beans yet, but I didn't plant them too long ago. Okay, I don't think there's any pumpkins in this middle bit. Well, this is the butternut squashes. Oh, there's another angle at that butternut squash over there. Yeah, and I have noticed that the pumpkin leaves there are starting to get powdery mildew. I'm just hoping that the pumpkins grow quick enough that the powdery mildew doesn't kill off all the leaves before they really grow to a decent size. But I was just looking up here earlier because I knew there was one pumpkin over here that I was already aware of, that one. Oops. And it has not grown much at all, so I'm not sure whether it may just fall off. I don't think there's any down here. There is one butternut squash there. I think that's a butternut squash. Yeah, it's coming from that way. But then I noticed over here, oops, a pretty big pumpkin just hidden down here, and you can see the warts on it. So this is definitely one of the goosebumps pumpkins, and it's pretty big. It's like the size of my fist already. And that one I didn't even know it was there until this morning. And there's another baby growing there. So that is the update on the pumpkin patch. It is the 21st of July, and we've still got a lot of growing to do, but I've just seen a June beetle that is definitely dead. Let me try and grab it. A June beetle dead? He was just on the leaf. I'll get a close-up of the other side, but we get June beetles around here, and apparently they lay their eggs in the soil, and then the larvae eat, like they feed off of the roots of your like root crops, we get a lot of them around here, but we'll see if it actually affects the plants. I'm not really sure. They're just so interesting and big. Anyway, I'm so happy with the progress on the pumpkin patch this year. Next year, if this space hasn't been turned into anything by then, I'm gonna do more pumpkins because I absolutely love growing pumpkins. I could maybe try different varieties. I'd like to grow some watermelons, or maybe not watermelons, but like cantaloupes or something like that, but maybe that might be better in the greenhouse. But yeah, that is the update on the pumpkins. Let me know if you guys are growing pumpkins. If you haven't, I really recommend it because it's so much fun. And they grow so quick, just like cucumbers. Like one day they'll be small, you'll check up on them 2 days later and they've like over doubled in size. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.